Hi everyone, welcome to episode 40 of YarnAdelaide Knits podcast. My name's Nicole and I'm coming to you from the northeastern suburbs of Adelaide in South Australia, Australia. Number 40, hey? I'm finally back after a bit of a hiatus. I'm a knitter, a sometimes crocheter, a wannabe spinner, and the one-woman show behind Colagirl Collective, which is an Etsy shop where I sell hand-dyed yarns, fibre, project bags and stitch markers. Yeah, keeps me busy. In today's episode, I've got a few FOs to show you, some works in progress, my experience on the Bendigo, the Australian Sheep and Wool show that was in Bendigo, I think 2 weekends ago, and a bit of a update on what I will have at the Coloured Sheep Breeders Association of South Australia, Mount Pleasant Fibre and Feast show, which is next Saturday, the 11th of August. So, I guess one more thing. I suppose you want to know what I'm wearing because it's a hand knit. I've worn it before a few times on the podcast. It is my Saddleback Cardi by Jennifer Hagen. Starts off at the saddle shoulders and then pick up saddle shoulder at the back, which is like a back panel. It's not on the shoulders as such, it's kind of along the shoulder blades. And then stitches are picked up, knit down to the armhole, so it's top down construction, and then there's a big cable panel underneath the saddle. And yeah, so it was something that I knit probably about 4 years ago now, maybe 5, not sure, but it's been around for a while now. And it was a gift. The yarn was a gift from my friend Eleanor that was migrating back to New Zealand from Adelaide a few years ago, and she was having a big clean out and she gifted me, what's it called, online Marley it's called. So it's 100% merino, no, was it 100% wool? Let's have a look. It's a worsted weight 100% wool, so yeah, it's kind of a bit like Zara, if you know that yarn. So let's get into some finished objects. And one to my right here, Paris is turned into a cross-dresser today, shall we say. She's wearing my husband's Nelson pullover that I finally finished in time for Bendigo. He loves it. It's made out of a possum merino yarn that my mother-in-law got from New Zealand about 10 years ago. So it had been deep stash. One thing I've learnt about possum, it kind of has similar characteristics to alpaca, I reckon, being that it grows. I did the 48-inch size. It's the Nelson pullover from Interweave Knits. Let's have a look, see if I can get up my finished objects and I'll be able to tell you properly what it was. So it's from, the pattern is from Interweave Knits Fall 2017. Again, it's not a saddle shoulder, but slightly different construction in the saddle shoulder, that the saddle shoulder is on top of the shoulders. So it starts off as this little cable panel, and pick up stitches, knit down either side, and then join in the round and knit the body top down, and then you pick up the stitches of the shoulder around here and then knit down, incorporating the cable panel, same as the other side, and then you pick up stitches to knit the nice cow neck. Hubby's pretty much been wearing it every day since the Saturday of the Bendigo Sheep and Wool show. being that I did initially cast it on knowing that possum was a really warm fibre, that he works at the wholesale produce markets in Adelaide, and he starts at usually about 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's been a bitterly cold winter, although it's been relatively short. Haven't had a lot of cold weather, but what we have that has been cold has been very cold, shall we say. And yeah, so he's been wearing it most early mornings to work as well, which is what I initially made it for. But I gave him strict instructions that he kind of wears. He ends up having to wear a fluoro vest over the top of it, so it is slightly protected. But I think it's in need of a little bit of a wash now to gain some shape. As I was saying about the possum, is that it has that, doesn't have a memory like wool does. So I think it's starting to look a little bit out of shape from him wearing it. I did the 48-inch size, but not having known, hurry up and go to message bank, Justin's phone. Not having known how possum works, I wished I had gone down the size for him, because it does look quite big on him, and the shoulders kind of fall down. They don't sit on his shoulders. But hey, it keeps him warm, so that was the main thing. I really like the pattern, because it's nice and masculine without being too busy, but it has enough interest in its construction that that creates keeps you interested in doing it. But then you have all this stocking stitch to mindlessly knit, so you can take it on the go. And I even did the I-cord drawstring in the top, which I was quite proud of myself for pushing through and just doing it. Because a lot of the time when you have all these little accessories, you go, no, I don't need that, no, I don't need that. So I am happy that I did that one. I'll show you a couple of other projects that I did, and then I'll show you what I wore to Bendigo as well. My daughter wanted some gloves, so I promised her some gloves. So I'll quickly knit up her, and they're looking a bit tatty already because she's been wearing them, because they're a few weeks old. Knit her some fingerless gloves in a nice cute pink colour. This is, the yarn was my Tilly DK, which was a silk merino 8-ply, which I don't stock anymore because it basically just didn't sell, and the colourway is Hot Stuff. So I used up one of the skeins that I had left over. They were just a free pattern off Ravelry, and I can't tell you what name of the pattern was because I can't remember. But I think they were just a child's fingerless mitts. Now, just before, about a month ago, probably a month ago now, Silas, my eldest, had a year 10 experience and had a camp for a week. Well, it wasn't a camp because I stayed in a hotel over in Canberra. And and they were going to, I think they were going to Perisher on the last day that they were over there. And he didn't have a cow. He had a beanie, he had a couple of beanies, but he didn't have a cow or a scarf. And I quickly knitted him up a Colagirl cow that I test knit for Meg Gatsby probably a good almost 2 years ago? 12 months, no, it would have been just 12 months ago. About 18 months ago, let's go there. And I thought, I'll quickly knit him up the night before that he left. No, it was 2 nights. I knit him up, the Colagirl cow, but I slightly modified it. I did a rib at the start, instead of just the basic go straight to stocking stitch, hence the curl because they curl up. And the original test knit that I did for her, I knit one for Justin, and he wears it a lot at market as well. He loves it because this is quite high up, but he gets the cow underneath it and then pulls that up, and yeah, has his beanie on and the cow almost like a balaclava up, and he goes, he's nice and toasty with it. So yeah, anyway, and I knit this up in a night, and yeah, and he never wore it in the end. So this has been a new cow for Justin to use that he's been using as well. And this is done in my Outback 8-ply, my sustainable merino, 100% Australian and merino, a non-superwash in the Marshadow colourway. So it's just a charcoal black that has, it's a little bit tonal. See the sort of variation in colour, which gives a bit of interest as well. But I did, this time around, I was supposed to, I had it in my head that it used 4mm needles, and it didn't. But this one was knit in 4mm needles, so it's slightly smaller than the original, but still works nonetheless. And I ended up getting that knit up in a night. So I finished, he left, what did he do? He left on a Monday night, so I think I started it like Saturday, finished it Sunday, and blocked it Sunday to Monday afternoon when he left for Canberra. So yeah, it's a quite quick, mindless knit, which was good. And then I finally did Scarlet another Milo. I did the 4-year-old size, but it's a bit big for her. And this was some yarn that I got in Bendigo that I'll show you that I got in acquisitions. I only finished this, cast it on. This was fairly quick as well. I was going to knit her a new Milo in May, when it was Milo May, which is a Georgie Nicholson pattern. I'm sure a lot of you will be quite familiar with the Milo vest. It goes from newborn size to I think about 7 years. And it's an 8-ply pattern. So yeah, some Bendigo Woolen Mills Bloom that I got over at Bendigo. And she loves it. So cute, she's so knit worthy that she knows that I make them, and she loves wearing them. Although she hasn't quite got it figured out what's inside out and what's the right way around. But nonetheless, she has a go. Yeah, that only took me a few days. I decided this time around to do the horseshoe cable, where the original one that I did for her, which I think was the 2-year-old size, so I thought, well, she's turning 4 next week, I'll do the 4-year-old size. But it is quite big for her, being that she still does wear the 2-year-old size. But yeah, the shoulder straps kind of come off her shoulders a little bit, but I'm sure it will get a good wear next winter. So that's another finished object that I did. And so this is my Like a Cloud cardigan that I finished in time for Bendigo. It's a pattern by Locatelli. I'm sure many of you know about it. And it's knit with a lace weight yarn and a lace weight mohair held 2 strands together, or you can have 1 strand of fingering weight yarn, which is yeah, gives you the choice. I instantly had to do it in the mohair because I wanted to do something in the mohair yarn that I dye. And so the colourway that I chose to do it in is called Cthulhu, which I created the colourway. Here they are here. Created the colourway and it sat for almost 2 weeks without a name. And on the way, and being that it's black, grey with speckles of purple, just gentle speckles of purple. So you get, being that the black and the grey, and then you've sort of have little highlights of purple through there, so it gives that subtle haze that there's a bit of purple through. It makes the grey and the charcoal look a bit purple. And we've got all our CDs, all our collection of CDs on a USB stick that we plug into the car and listen randomly. And it comes up on the screen in our car what the song is. And Cthulhu by Metallica was playing, and it's like, oh, I like that. I like that name. And I was thinking of a name, and the name Cthulhu is a squid king from some kind of, from, was it paganism? Some time long ago. I can't remember exactly. That's it. It was. Let me Google it. I'll see what I can find. Because I did Google it at the time. Cthulhu meaning. Says, yeah. Cthulhu is a phonetic spelling used by the band Metallica in reference to Cthulhu. Cthulhu is an ancient squid god of the sea in Sumerian religion. So I figured squids are white, black and grey with purple red. So I figured that's what the name was. It's different, and that's my husband's taste in music. Like, I don't mind a bit of Metallica, but not all of it. But he has very fond memories of his teenage years with Metallica. They were like gods to him. So yeah, so this was my Like a Cloud in Cthulhu. I did use 2 skeins of the lace weight, which is 800 metres, I used 2 and a bit skeins, probably less than 5 grams into a third skein. But in saying that, I also did, let me see, I'll tell you what size I did as well, because I can tell you that I could have got away with just the 2 skeins, because I did the double XL size, so the 47.25 inch. No, 40. Did I do the 47 or the 52? No, I can't remember now. 136, I reckon, is what I cast on. Yeah, so the double XL, which is the 52.75 inch. So it's designed to give you about 10 inches positive ease. And I ended up going a little bit longer because I wanted it to sort of be like a coat light. And what did I do? I went a bit longer, but with blocking, learning how mohair plays, it does grow. And I had been trying it on while I was knitting, and I felt that it was, when I was trying it on, that it sat a little bit too wide apart, and I wanted it to more be that I could cross it over and fill. So when I blocked it, I made sure I blocked it wider than I did longer, because I knew I had plenty of length, and I could have got away with just the 2 skeins of the lace, because my sleeves are a bit too long, because I've blocked it wider, hence that's drop shoulder, and it's made these longer. So I could have, if I had have taken that into consideration, I would have got away with less yardage in the yarn, because I used 2 skeins of this and 4 skeins of this one, because these are only in 50 gram skeins, and they're 420 metres per skein. So roughly about 1600 metres of both. And I did have some leftovers of this. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. I was really surprised with how light. So there's only 400 grams of yarn in total that I knit that, or probably a little bit less, like 395. I was very surprised at how warm it was because I had a long sleeve top around Bendigo, and then I had 2 long sleeve tops on, and then just this and a shawl, and I got hot. And I think I get colder here at home, but mind you, I was walking around the Bendigo and I was expecting it to be a lot cooler than what it was. It was cold, don't get me wrong there, but I was expecting it to be colder. And I suppose on the Saturday that I went to Bendigo, it wasn't windy or anything, so there wasn't like a bitter cold that was just cutting through everything. Did its trick really well. I was really happy with it. Because then I wore it to football, to my son's football last Sunday, and I got colder there than what I did at Bendigo. But at football, I'm just sitting around watching football. At Bendigo, I was walking around, so I was a little bit warmer. So hence, yeah, I didn't get cold. So yeah, I'm trying to talk my mum into knitting one of these for herself as well, because the mohair is named after my nan. I call it Myrtle because she loved mohair. She passed away a few years ago now, but I guess she's the one that brought, no, my great nan would have been, was the one that brought knitting into our lives, being that my mum taught me, my great nan taught me how to crochet, but I'm pretty sure my mum taught me how to knit. And yeah, so, and it's lovely and soft with the merino and silk, and the merino and silk, no, the mohair and silk, merino and silk. So yeah, no, I love it. I'll knit it again in a heartbeat, and I really like the construction, that there's no shaping around the neck. It's just pretty straightforward. A little bit of texture in the pattern, just I guess to give it a little bit more structure, being that there's no bands or anything like that, and being that it's top down, but it does have a seam up here to hold it up, which is a good idea. But yeah, no, I really love that. I think that's all my finished objects. I've had a few since it's been a while. You would think in that, say, I think it's been about 6 weeks since our last podcast, that I would have finished a pair of socks, and I think I did, but I gifted them because it was just before Mother's Day that I did the socks. And if I look at my notes, I had Hermione's Everyday Socks, which I knit for my mum, and then I did the oranges, the new black socks, which I knit for my mother-in-law. So yeah, they've been finished and gifted. Okay, so let's move on to WIPs. I will just randomly pull out what I have been knitting on. So I thought I had some yarn that I had dyed up, that when I was rescanning it I noticed a couple of blue dots on it, so I thought, well, I can't sell that, so I will use it up myself. And that was the Peony colourway, and this is on the Swagman sock base, which is an 85 Australian Merino 15% nylon. And I am knitting, let me get up the pattern so I can tell you what it is. I think it's called Pitty. Let's see, it is Pitu Mitts by Heidi Alander. Can you see them? Yeah. So it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I've pretty much got them done. I just need to do the thumb gusset. Oh, no, I've done the thumb gusset, I just need to do the thumb properly. And these, Elijah has a Friday night game this week for football, so I'm thinking I'll get these finished off tonight and they'll be ready for tomorrow night's football. So it's just a simple lace pattern that's easy to memorise, and they're quite firm on, so I can feel that they're warm, but the weather is quite warm today. I think we've got a storm coming. Had a blustering northerly coming in, and yeah, it's supposed to be 21 today. It's like, what is it, August? So yeah, I'm really happy with them. And Scarlett, because I've knit Scarlett a pair of gloves, she's like, they're mummy's gloves. So, and it's something that I want to knit myself some proper fingered gloves, but I don't like knitting the fingers, and I don't like the stopping and starting and the holes from where you pick up stitches and stuff. It just, yeah, become fiddly, and there's too many ends to sew in, and yeah, so that's why I chose a fingerless design without any fingers in them, and hopefully that will keep me warm enough. And I've been knitting those on been doing a magic loop method with them, and they're on, which they're not on at the moment, but they're on a 3mm higher bamboo. And they have been living in my Give Me a Crown snaplock bag that I got, I think, last Christmas. Yeah. And what's in this one? Aha. So it was a cast on that I started a couple of days before I headed off to Bendigo, which I was thinking I'd get it finished before Bendigo or while I was there, but it didn't happen. And this is the Tied Knots free pattern of Justina Lakowska. I'll show you that. It's all on my tablet. There we go. So it's got travelling cables. And this is in my Outback DK again. Yeah, this yarn got sin binned, got deemed not suitable for sale because it had a bit of a dag on it, like a knot and something that hadn't like a couple of inches that hadn't plied properly. So I thought, and it kind of had a bit of a knot, sort of knot snag thing. So I ended up keeping it for myself, and this is the First Love colourway. So it's a nice gentle lilac purple, and I called it First Love because it was a lilac purple, and lilacs are supposed to be the flower that you give your first love. So yeah, so that I think I've just started shaping for the crown. So yeah, be nice and soft. And I find I don't have many beanies for myself, so that one's for me. And that's living in one of my boxy bags that I made. I don't make these normally. They're too fiddly to make. And yeah, I'm not entirely happy with the way they come together. So that's why I don't make them. But that were my original bags that I made. And what's living in this one? Okay. These are some basic vanilla socks that I was knitting while I was over in Bendigo. This is one of my self-striping colourways called Just Wanna Have Fun, and I've been experimenting with new cast-on methods because I'm trying to establish the perfect sock for me, because I have fat ankles and high arches. I find things can get a bit tight to get over my heel, and then if I make them too loose then they fall down and what have you. Don't mind that, it's Thursday bin day. So I've been experimenting with new stretchy cast-ons. I think this one was the Norwegian cast-on, which is similar to the provisional cast-on. And I've been making a slightly longer heel flap to help get over my foot as well. Now this yarn, this yarn is just want to have fun, and again it got sim bin because it's got different colour blotches in the fluorescent yellow. So I thought, well, I can't just bin it, I'll just knit myself up something as well. So yeah, so there on my, what colour is that there? I really think I've got bifocal glasses on that would, I can't see. Then knitted out 2.25 on my Knit Pro Zings, and that's just living in one of my Clinique cosmetic bags, which I get copious amounts of that double up as project bags. Something else that I have been knitting on. Well, yes and no. I did take this away to Bendigo with me, but it never came out. These are my winter rose socks from the Sock Society from Curious Handmade that I started months and months ago. I think I started these earlier in the year, much earlier in the year, with the new Crazy Trio Addy needles. But I noticed a mistake, and then I wasn't happy with it because I couldn't rectify it, so I pulled it all back. And then I thought, well, no, I'll do this Norwegian cast on again to give a stretchy cast on and knit these socks properly. And I've only just got to the band. That's as far as it got. And they're knit on my Spice Chai colourway. It's a nice mushroom brown with speckles of brown and yellow and red. And it's even got a couple of spots of teal because one of the colours that I speckle on there splits and has a bit of blue in it, which I kind of like that. I like it when I've been speckling with colours that, you know, that are brown and then it has yellow and red and blue in it, but you think it's brown. I like it how it, you know, adds colours that you don't even think to add. That's living in one of my bags as well. That's got all fluff all over it. That doesn't matter. And another pair of socks that I think I've just started shaping the toe. These are just a plain vanilla pair of socks. I think these are 72 stitch count, so they'll be either for Grandpa for Father's Day, or I think I was going to, no, I think these are for Silas. Yes, I was going to make them for Silas. And yeah, that's in a Zuba ball that I got in a wool swap from, I think, Justine, as well as the bag. They're just, yeah, a basic pair of vanilla socks that I've cast on when I have been going to the movies, and they kind of fall a bit flat because when you have to do the heel shaping or the toe shaping, you can't just sit in the cinema and mindlessly knit them. Now, there's something else that I wanted to show you as well. I need to look up the pattern. Yes. Okay. My last work in progress. This is the Twigs sweater by, who's it by? I think it's by, let's see if I can get it up. By Junko Okamoto. I'm still on the yoke. This has been, I've been trying to do some every morning, but some mornings are more challenging than others. see if I can get a photo. There's that one there. It's a paid for pattern, and this isn't for me. This is a commission knit, and this is the one that gave me the idea with the provision. I think this had a provisional tubular cast on, and I really love the finish of it and the stretchiness of it and the neatness of it. But it's hard going when the current colour work panel is in 80 stitch blocks, so you can't really form a rhythm, although the last couple of rows that I've done there's a rhythm of it. But yeah, so it's constantly looking at the pattern, but it's getting there. This is normally done in a 4-ply yarn, but this is a 10-ply. 10-ply knitting for olive. It's a heavy merino. Can't really see that. I can't see. And yeah, so it's the brown, a fawny colour, and the white. There's not a lot of contrast between those two. It can be a little bit challenging to see the colour work in it, but it's not too bad. I thought I might knit myself one of these when it comes to shaping, once that start doing the body part of it, but I'm not so sure now, because it's not an easy mindless knit. You're always looking at the pattern, so you need some form of concentration, but hey, that's alright. Alrighty, so that's all my works in progress. Get on to a few acquisitions and things that I bought in Bendigo. Yeah, Bendigo was good. It was good. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a bit more than what it was. I thought there was going to be a bit more, I guess, razzle-dazzle, and being that, you know, it's supposed to be the mecca of yarn events for Australia, and it reminded me of a country show and what we had of Fibre Feast earlier in the year. So it was just like a fibre market. There wasn't, which the fibre, the hand dyed, you know, the hand knit side of things was an afterthought, or the way it's set up was an afterthought to the sheep show side of things. And yeah, it was nice, and it was really going to Bendigo. I think I've realised that it's more than just going to the show. It's more about the meetups and everything else that goes with it. Staying at the Quest Chalet in Bendigo, where what did we do? We arrived there Friday afternoon, and we're what is it? Signing in, logging in, checking in, and checking in, thinking, yay, we finally got here. And I'd just been to the woolen mill and the pottery place before we checked in, because I wanted to sort of get them out of the way so we could focus on the sheep show the following day, and I knew hubby wanted to leave fairly early on the Sunday, so we didn't have to go back and do anything else. And anyway, and there in the foyer was Christine Christine and Darren, yeah, it was Christine and Darren that were knitting. So Christine is Yarn About Yarn, and Darren is Pixie Beat on Ravelry and Instagram. And yeah, and I had been talking to Christine because she just bought a sweater quantity to make this, and she said she was going to be knitting it when she was in Bendigo, so that was good. And they were just casually knitting. They'd been to the sheep show that day, and yeah, so it was nice to catch up with them. And Justin was very patient, and he was very, very charming with everybody on the weekend. No, it was, but I think that was just, we had no kids, and we didn't have the stress of family and the distraction of family. So it was really, and we hadn't been away with just the two of us since our eldest was born, since before that. So yeah, it was really nice, even though it was only a couple of days. It was nice just to get away and be us instead of three people's parents and having to work and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and met them. So went upstairs because it was getting late in the afternoon, and because we'd left, what time did we leave? I think we left about 6:30 the Friday morning. And Mum was a trooper. Mum and my stepfather were troopers and came down from Snowtown early in the morning, so they were up at 3 to leave at 4 to get here by 5:30, 6 o'clock. So yeah, and that's a big effort from my mum, especially because she's not a morning person at all. Yeah, and they came to stay, and Mum looked after the kids for the weekend, and my stepfather went down to see family down at McLaren Vale. And yeah, so then we came down, and I knew that there was a sort of a knitting meet-up in the foyer at about 5 o'clock. So we I think it was, wanted to get up into our room, sort of get changed, and we were starving because we didn't really stop and have anything to eat on the way over. I wasn't hungry. I think I was more focused on more excited and focused on getting there and doing stuff. I was on a mission. And yeah, so we came down, I think about 5 o'clock, and sort of met a few others with the meetup, and then yeah, I think we booked in at a Thai restaurant for about 6 o'clock, so we sort of only stayed for a little bit. And yeah, and then did I come down? Yeah, I came back after we had dinner. We sort of had a drink in the bar in the foyer, and there was still a few people hanging around that were staying at the Chalet as well, that had a net. And yeah, I think I slept like a baby that night from travelling all day, and yeah, just being busy. So that was supposed to lead me into acquisitions. So, being at the woolen mill, I bought this. I only bought 3 balls of yarn at the woolen mill. I expected to buy more, but I need yarn like a hole in the head. But I thought I'd buy. I had a Milo in mind to do for Scarlett, and I didn't have. I've got a few balls of 8-ply yarn, but they're all in navy blues of Bendigo, and I wanted to get a girly colour, and I saw this in the bloom in the candy colourway, so I got 2 balls of that, which I didn't need to get 2 balls because from doing the Milo for her, I've got 1 and a bit left over. I miscalculated, thinking the original Milo that I did took 2 50-gram balls plus a bit more, because it was two balls of Clequeton Country that I had in white, that when I first started dyeing, I dyed them up in, I think, 2 tones of red speckles and some bright pink speckle, and then I ran out of yarn, so I had a ball of the red Clequeton Country, and I just finished off, so there's about 2 or 3 inches along the bottom in just red. So I had it in my head that I needed 2 200-gram balls. Go figure. So I've got 1 and a bit left of that, and I thought I'd buy their sock yarn, and I was in a girly pink phase, and I don't know whether, I said to Scarlett that this was going to be some socks for her, but yeah, I was going to make some tubular socks that don't need to do the heel in them, which is supposed to be really good for kids, for little people. So that's what the plan is for that. And then I got some cotton for a friend. At the show, the sheep show, I only bought one skein of yarn, and I've already wound it off. And I thought, I bought some Great Ocean Road Mill alpaca. It's the Labella Alpaca Merino. You can see that? And it's lovely and soft, and I'm usually not a fan of alpaca, but I'm beginning to learn that I don't know whether it's just the way it is milled in Australia, but Australian alpaca, and I don't know whether it's the way that they spin it as well, doesn't have the long tickly fibres of other alpacas, or might just be the better quality, I don't know. But I thought this was 8 ply, but it's 12 ply, and I only bought one skein of it, so I've only got 145 metres. So I have been madly looking on Ravelry to see what hat, and I thought I was going to make Justin a hat with it, because yeah, he will appreciate the warmth of alpaca for market work, and his beanies are getting trashed. But I did find a couple of Aran weight beanies on Ravelry that only used about 150 metres, so I'm pretty stoked with that, and I'm sure I reckon I've got a contrast colour that I can substitute a little bit if I need a bit of extra. So I bought that. I got I wasn't going to the show to buy yarn, it was more I was going to the show to buy tools. And I had heard Cashmere Connections had milled and scoured a totally Australian sock weight yarn. So I bought a cone of it. Now this is it's a 80% Australian grown and manufactured merino and 20% nylon. It's a non-superwash sock yarn. So and Trish, I think it was Trish that I was speaking to from Cashmere Connections, was saying that they sourced the merino from South Australia and it was milled and scoured in Victoria. So this will be a new yarn base, but I need to name it. And I was thinking, the only thing that, I was thinking what, being that it's South Australian merino and it was all done in Victoria, all that comes to mind with me is calling it Grand Prix. So yeah, that's what's sticking. This is what my new base could be called, Grand Prix. And South Australian Victorians will understand that the Grand Prix was originally in South Australia and the Victorian government took it away and they've been paying for it ever since. Shall we say, being that it doesn't make them any money, it costs them a bloody lot of money. But being that it has a South Australian Victorian connection, I couldn't call it State of Origin because it was a bit too long a name. But yeah, I'm really excited. My scales needed new batteries, so I haven't been able to wind any off and start playing with it. But it's a nice plumpy sock weight yarn that I think will be awesome, being it's a non-superwash, will be awesome for colourwork socks. In particular, being that it has the nylon in it. But it has that, it's nice and soft, but it has that sort of, a little bit of rusticness to it. It has that woolliness to it. So I'm a bit excited too. I've got almost 2 kilos of it. I bought 1.8624 because Trish said when they got it from, on the cones, they were just randomly weighted cones, and I thought, well, I'm definitely going to come back and buy one, which I did, and I'll get the biggest one. But it'd be interesting when I want to get more, having to get more and paying for the postage, which will hurt. But yeah, and per 100 grams it wasn't, and being that it's been completely Australian sourced and milled with Australian wages, it wasn't too much more expensive than the other ones that I've got, the other yarns that I've got. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. What else did I buy? Oh, I bought this. I was in the market for a new ball winder, and I didn't want any kind of ball winder. I wanted something that would last my days of knitting. So I got one of the Storch? Yeah, I can't pronounce it. Storch Fibre equipment from Donna Hampson, which is, what is it? It's American. It's American. What? I did say what it was. Some kind of wood that's in America. But yeah, it's lovely to work with. A little bit does come with instructions, and they're fairly simple instructions, but need to be read nonetheless. And the first skein that I wound, I made a mincemeat of it, and this little baby ain't cheap. And husband was a bit shocked that I paid this much money for it, but he let it go. And he was going, oh, you paid all this money for this and it's no better than what you've already got. And it's like, yeah, shut up. And having a 3-year-old wanting to help me wind yarn at the same time when I'm trying to figure out how it works was a bit, So I put it away, and then because I was winding this yarn, which was a sock weight yarn, but yeah, and just had long bits hanging out of it and wasn't a perfect cake. But this one caked up perfectly, and yeah, I just need to be good to it and not wind too fast and read the instructions on how to start the skein, and I'm happy as Larry with her now. It's just only thing that annoys me, and I don't think I will get. That's not necessarily the skein, the ball winder's fault. It's a jumbo ball winder as well, so I think it winds up to 350 or 450 gram balls of yarn. It's a big chunk. Only thing that annoys me is that I have to have a perfectly square edge to what is it? What's the word? I'm losing all my words. To anchor it onto. So my breakfast bar, which is just there, which has got both my windmill ball winder skeiners on there at the moment, that I can't sit in front of the TV and wind yarn mindlessly. I have to sit at the breakfast bar and wind mindlessly. So yeah, that's the only downside, but that's no fault of ball winders. I think that's just the way that they need to anchor it down, so that's what they do. Also bought myself some Ugg boots, which I don't have any nearby, but I got some from the Australian Ugg boot company, which are beautiful. They're I tried them on and they were a bit firm, and I thought, no, an inch and a half of sheepskin will end up flattening down. And I got them home and they're still a bit firm to get on, going, oh shit. But now I've been wearing them every day and they feel nice and firm and they're really warm, and yeah, they're working a treat now. one last thing that I did get, and I was looking for a blending board so I could start making rollags. And I'd gone to the Ashford stand, and the girl there had showed me how to make rollags and showed me how their blending board had worked, and I thought, no, I'll go away and think about it and then come back later on. And it was more that I didn't want to carry it around with me, so on the way, you know, on our way out we'll come and do it. And then Donna's Offsider, when I bought the Skein Rider, had a second-hand Major Craft blending board that she didn't want anymore, that I got for a very good price, about $120 less than what the brand new Ashford one was. So I was pretty stoked that I saved myself a couple of $120 over the whole day, which allowed me to spend more money on the ball winder and buy a skein of Australian yarn. So I got the Major Craft blending board, which is in pretty good condition, and it has a little stand, so I'm pretty stoked with that. And it has my chopsticks. So I have been playing, I've only had a chance to play with it once because Scarlett is very interested in it, because I've been using, you can see with the paintbrush, instead of having the comb, the paintbrush does a really good job. I've got some Angelina, so the pretty sparkles and stuff are right up her alley. So she's showing a lot of interest in all the things I do. I think when she's older, she's going to have a lot of fun being a little crafter. You know, there's a bit of cardboard to cover over. So yeah, I got myself a blending board. Which I'm very happy with. I want to play again with some more rovings. It's another acquisition that I got, I think, a week or so before. I bought Yarn Trader at Port Adelaide. Stock have got hedgehog fibres in, so I went down there, I think, beginning of last month. Yeah, and I bought 2 skeins of hedgehog fibres. One in the Bollywood colourway, which I've already wound up, and got some Fool's Gold as well. And I'm not sure whether these are just going to be socks or I'm going to make something with it. I don't think they'll make them together, although they do go together, but they're a bit too loud for my wardrobe, gone together. So yeah, but I bought the week before we went to Bendigo. I desperately needed new shoes, and I went down to Harbour Town and bought myself some new Converse All Stars, and I got some red ones. So I think I might make some red socks in this one. Don't know whether I'll do a pattern or not, but some socks for me might just happen to have to happen. And I got Fool's Gold as well. So yeah, I think that's everything that I got. Also, I gave Nina a skein of yarn, and last week I got Fleece in the mail from her, which was a gorgeous little project bag, which I love her snap lock project bags. They're so easy and convenient to work with. So yeah, and there was another cast on that I did cast on, but I've only cast it on, literally just cast it on and done one row. So I think I need to open this up and put it in there. I'll just show you what I did, what it is. It is the new pattern from Amber O'Brien. It's her new, what's it called? Natsu linen cardigan. Which is a nice oversized cardi, which is done in a fingering weight yarn, And the yarn that I'm using is a 8 ply, but it's a very thin 8 ply, and it does give the same gauge as what is required in the pattern, so I'm hoping it's going to work for me. Well, it's just a navy blue online linen, or what is it? It's cotton silk, I think it is, that I'm using, that I've had in my stash for a very long time. That was something, it was what is it, a Debbie Bliss Bolero that was half knitted for about 10 years, and yeah, never got finished. So I'm repurposing it. So yeah, so that will live in my new bag. When I sit down, when I finish my gloves, I'll focus on that. But I'm yet to finish myself something to wear in summer. So hopefully this one, the Stay top that I started last year, has been languishing for a while, so yeah. Alright, my battery's going to run out, and I wanted to show you what I was going to take to Bendigo, to Mount Pleasant next Saturday. So what I might do is put this back on charge for a few minutes and then go at it again. Now that just wanted to show you guys a little bit of what's going to be at Mount Pleasant next week. I have been dyeing up a storm since I got back from Bendigo, feeling all inspired, and I've really loved this so much. I've been dyeing up cardigan sweater quantities for Like a Cloud, and then there is a beautiful new cardigan of similar construction, well yeah, well it uses a lace weight and a mohair at the same time, and that's the S.A.C.S.O.S by Rarico, and it's that one. Sorry for that one there. Yeah, so which I will be able to show you at Mount Pleasant next week. So I've been dyeing up mohair, my Myrtle mohair, which is a 70% mohair, kid mohair, and 30% silk, and I've dyed it on a few colours. So I have dyed up Battle of Magenta, which doesn't look anything like on the screen, but it's a beautiful dark mulberry. It's not sort of plum, but it's a real pinky purple, like cerise purple. So there'll be a couple of skeins of the lace weight and 4 skeins of the mohair. And then there'll be some more Dirt Girl as well on the mohair and the lace. Now they're colours that are already in, colours that have been around for a while now. There'll be some more Aldinga Drop Off, which is what Christine from Yarn About Yarn is doing in this one, which I kind of was trying to talk my mum into doing it in this colour, but I really like this colour, so I'm thinking S.A.C.S.O.S, that one might be in it for me in Battle of Magenta. And there'll be Blackety Black, which, you know, everybody loves a black cardigan, goes with everything. And that's what my idea is, why I chose this. I wanted a grey cardigan, but I did like the charcoal and the pops of purple, which kind of looked like just another layer of grey through there. So yeah, and then there will be some fairy garden as well, which on the mohair looks really shiny because of the silk in there. And there'll be some Katuli as well, which is this guy here, and a new colourway that I had at Auburn Fibre Fair, which was on the very beginning of July, is Crush. So it's just a multitude of pastel colours. Pastel pinks, yellow, purple, grey, all nicely together. And that's all I've got in the mohair. If there's any colours that you want to suggest to me, feel free. I'm always looking for inspiration. I've been trying my utmost to warp and dye up my self-striping, and I have managed to dye up Port Power, much to my family's disgust, being that we are Crow supporters. So I will have a couple of balls of, I will call this Never Tear Us Apart, and Port Power fans will know what that reference is to. And I will have, I think I've got 3 of, no, I have 4 of We Fly as One. So I'm trying to get some more colour, and that phone's ringing again. More, not colour, more self-striping sock yarn on the go. I've still got another week. I've got two 4-colour warps ready to dye up. I just need to choose a colour, and I'll get as much as I can dyed up. It's such a process. So also I'll show you some new colourways. I'll have a little bit on my Dapper 4-ply, which is the Donegal Nets. I'll have some Vampire Apocalypse, which every time I dye up this colour I love it so much. It's such a sexy red. And that's on the Donegal Nibs. I think I've got 4 skeins of that. And this is a new colour, which is called Waterworld. I wanted to give it, I was going to call it Oceania or something, and then I thought, no, I'll give it something a little bit closer to home. Our local swimming pool, which has a water slide on it, is called Waterworld, and the sign is those two kind of blues there. So it's like a nice bright royal blue with a turquoise. So I have 4 skeins of that as well. That's on the Dapper. It's another new colour called Log Cabin, which is browns, blacks and red. Excuse me. Oh. So yeah, that was a nice wintry colour. I quite like that as well. And it's also on the Swagman. It's come out a lot brighter on the Swagman, as well as on the Lush DK. So yeah. And then I've dyed up again because I've sold out. There's another new colourway called Winter Solstice, which has got your nice primary reds and purple and navy. I think there's a bit of black and some mustard yellow through there and a bit of green. So yeah, I went a bit crazy with all the colours in that one. Another new colourway. I was trying to incorporate some more blues and greens into my colourways, and I came up with this one. It's called Rainforest. I think there's 3 or 4 greens in there. I think I've got 4 skeins of that one as well. And then I went through a little bit of a yellow patch as well, I think just before Auburn Fibre Fair. And got that one. That one's called Gold Digger. That's on the Lush DK, which is a superwash DK. And then I've got S.A.S.O.S, which is one of the, it's from one of the Thor movies. It's the fiery demon. I think is it in Ragnarok? One of them anyway. I think it's in Ragnarok. So yeah, got to name that one. Another new colourway called Jinx, which is grey with the bright pinky purple speckles and mustard yellow speckles. And there'll be some blueberry jam on the Lush DK, which is a oldie but a goodie. And I think I may have already showed this one to you before, but this is Surf, and that's also on the mohair and the lace, as well as the Swagman 4-ply. It's got a few different blues with speckles of the fluorescent yellow and speckles of the blues as well. Remind me of the summer beach. And there's another new colourway. Which I called People Eater, because all I can think of is that song, One-Eyed One-Horned Flying Purple People Eater. And that's on the Royalty MCN, Merino Cashmere Nylon. And then another colourway that I dyed up yesterday, which is still kind of drying, but it's a grey with speckles of purples. I think there's 3 different kinds of purples in there, and a little bit of speckling of some fluorescent yellow. I think that will knit up quite nicely, and that's on that Royalty, as well as the Spirit, the Sparkle. Sparkle sock yarn, which is the Merino Stellina nylon. And I think that's about it. Little colours. Just a bit of tastings for what you can find next Saturday at the Mount Pleasant Fibre Fair. And I need to take some photos, so after that I can list them in the shop. If there's anything that you like, see, let me know, and yeah, I can get it out to you, or I can hold it for you for the Fibre Fair. So on that note, thanks for watching. Yeah, everywhere that you can find me will be in the credits at the end, on Ravelry, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email, and Etsy. So yeah, I hope everybody's well, and have a great week. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya. Oh, of course, if you like, subscribe. Thanks. See ya.